Hirokazu Kurita pretty much has the market cornered on delightful, low-key character studies, and Our Little Sister, about a tight-knit group of 3 sisters, all adults, who find out they have a 13-year-old half-sister and invite her to come live with them, is Kurita at his best. He really is the master of understated character dramas like this one. The warmth and richness of character that has typified his filmography is here in spades. The film is deliberately paced without a whole lot of plot, but remains keenly engaging throughout thanks to how real and lived in the relationship feels between the 3 sisters. Kurita always manages to create characters who feel real and who are just a joy to spend time with. I know what you're thinking. I don't need another zombie movie in my life. There's like a billion of them. But no, you're incorrect. You need Train to Busan in your life. More than just a movie about zombies on a train, though yeah, it is that. It features some really impressive direction from Yan Sang-ho with some spectacular set pieces, including a satisfying mix of large-scale zombie mayhem and more low-key suspense. It's a bit too long, with at least one subplot that probably could have been removed altogether, but it's still a superlative zombie film, and one that anyone with even a vague interest in the genre really needs to check out. Featuring almost no plot and only Ruth Wilson's character on screen for the majority of the film, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House is a mesmerizing, flat-out amazing movie that's almost entirely about slow-burn tension and setting up an atmosphere of dread and foreboding. A task that director Osgood Perkins excels at so thoroughly, it's kind of breathtaking. I could see someone accusing this film of being style over substance, and yeah, kinda, but its effectiveness at immediately setting up an atmosphere of simmering unease and not letting up until the end credits roll is so expertly done that the lack of a plot never feels like any kind of a problem. It's a bit on the slow side, but it's just so compelling all the way through, with its languid pacing feeling like the absolute perfect way to tell this story.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time.
Complete and utter insanity from the first minute to the last, Hardcore Henry feels like a ballsy experiment to see how much action you can cram into a film before the audience revolts. Though the film's plot, such as it is, basically boils down to save the girl, it has such an amazingly unique sense of energy thanks to its first-person perspective and emphasis on insane, death-defying stunts that it very easily gets away with essentially just being a non-stop string of continually escalating set pieces. It might have gotten a bit one note, but each action scene feels so different from the last that it absolutely never even comes close to overstaying its welcome. It's pure, visceral adrenaline. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you can get on its very specific wavelength, you'll be hard-pressed to have a better time at the movies. Hunt for the Wilder People is an almost absurdly delightful film about a young boy and a curmudgeonly old man who find themselves on the run in the wilds of New Zealand. It's written and directed by Taika Waititi, who brings the movie a keen sense of style and really great pacing. He knows exactly when to keep things peppy and when to slow it down to let us spend time with the characters. Waititi directed 2014's What We Do in the Shadows, so it shouldn't be any surprise that this film is frequently laugh-out-loud hilarious. In fact, as much as I enjoyed that movie, I think this one is even funnier and just all around better on every level. It's hilarious, it has a ton of heart, and it's just so entertaining all the way through. And of course, I have to mention Sam Neill and Julian Dennison, who make for such a delightful pair. Yeah, delightful is definitely the key word when it comes to this movie. It's so great. Essentially a story about a boy and his dog, Pete's Dragon is set in the 80s and feels like a throwback to that era in a lot of ways. This is a movie that's okay with taking its time without feeling the need for the frenetic pacing and gag-heavy tone that typifies so many contemporary kids' films. There's a really refreshing sense of earnestness here that you just don't tend to see in family films. The relationship between Pete and the dragon is so endearing. Director David Lowery does a really great job of making the dragon feel simultaneously magical and approachable. It is ultimately a giant dog with wings, but there's also an amazing sense of awe and wonder to it. It's kind of amazing that this is only Lowery's third film, and yet in the same year that Steven Spielberg's similar BFG was released, Lowery very thoroughly out-Spielberged Spielberg. The Witch is a seriously effective, flat-out amazing horror film, featuring really stylish, absurdly confident direction from Robert Eggers. Kubrick definitely feels like a pretty big influence here, both in the visuals and the use of music, which is always a good thing. This is definitely a strong entry in the pantheon of all-time great first films. Mark Cohen's amazingly unnerving Penderecki-esque score goes a long way to making the film work as well as it does. And though it's definitely deliberately paced, there's an economy of storytelling here that's really impressive. The film's 93-minute running time features nary a wasted moment, with Eggers very expertly setting up an atmosphere of tension and dread almost right from the get-go. Even more impressive, this foreboding atmosphere absolutely does not let up until the end credits roll. The use of Old English dialogue might have come off as tiresome under a lesser writer-director, but here it somehow only adds to the unnerving qualities of the movie. The Nice Guys is just such a fun movie to watch. Essentially an 80s buddy cop movie crossed with film noir, this was absolutely crammed with personality by writer-director Shane Black, and is full of the type of memorable dialogue that he's become known for. Plus, it has some great action, and it's surprisingly hilarious. It helps that both Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are great, with chemistry that pretty much explodes off the screen. In particular, Ryan Gosling, whose bread and butter is as a brooding and intense leading man, is flat out hilarious in the film. He's essentially the Costello to Russell Crowe's Abbott, and it's just the best. Quentin Tarantino came up with the term hangout movie to describe a film that you can watch over and over again just because you love to spend time with the characters. The Nice Guys is pretty much the perfect example of that. La La Land is a downright spectacular musical. It's clear right from the joyous, electrifying opening shot, a perfectly staged one-take musical number set on a highway during a traffic jam, that this film is something special. Recalling old-school Hollywood musicals at their best while still feeling dazzlingly contemporary, Damien Chazelle absolutely directs the hell out of this movie. Unlike some other modern directors trying to do something similar, I'm looking at you, Baz Luhrmann. He actually knows how to stage, direct, and edit a musical number, and knows exactly when he should be flashy and when he should just step back and let the performers do their thing. But despite how stylish the movie is, it never feels overly fussy. Again, I'm looking at you, Baz Luhrmann. It's just so vibrant and alive. The jaw-dropping, meticulously composed cinematography could have made it feel overly precious, but it doesn't. It's bristling with life and energy. It helps that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are both at their movie star best, with chemistry up the wazoo. The movie is ultimately just an absolute joy to watch, and it packs an emotional wallop. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I think Green Room is one of the best thrillers I've ever seen. It's kind of absurd how good it is. Just between this and Blue Ruin, I am fully comfortable to declare director Jeremy Saulnier a flat-out genius. I'm not even kidding. I think this movie should be studied in film schools. Saulnier just seems to know the perfect thing to do with the camera at all times, and uses this, along with some amazing editing and sound design, to craft a film that is deliriously intense. He does a really great job of efficiently and expertly introducing us to a memorable group of characters, putting them in a bad situation, and then slowly but surely ratcheting up the tension in a way that's more effective than anything I can recall seeing in the last few years. I was tense during this film, chest-tighteningly, armrest-clutchingly tense to a degree that was downright spectacular. The script is just as superb, with the same mix of pitch-black humor and memorable dialogue that made Blue Ruin so good. And the cast, aside from the brilliant casting of Patrick Stewart as the leader of the neo-Nazis, which works out even better than you'd think, the entire band, and even the neo-Nazi thugs, are all so memorably portrayed. Can you tell that I love this movie? Because I love this movie. And now, without comment, here's my bottom 10, set to a trumpet solo cover of I Will Always Love You.